welcome to A Year of Career, 52 practical answers to your questions. I'm Erin Wolfram. I own and operate Career Advantage and Career Advantage Golf, and I help professionals feel more confident and prepared throughout their job search. So I help people with resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, mock interviews, just really anything job search related. But each week in this podcast, I answer one question from the public. And this week's question is, what advice do you have if you're wanting to start a side gig? And I've started a side gig myself, but I thought, I don't always want to be the one talking. So I've invited two guests with me today, and I'm really excited to have Kaylee and Katie from Kickin Ks. So they are going to introduce themselves and their business, and then we'll get started on some questions. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. All right, introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Katie Gordon.
I'm Kaylee Johnston, and we are the Ks of Kickin Ks.
Wonderful. So what is Kickin Ks?
We are an online clothing boutique. We started just to help people kind of get creative with their styles and be able to dress their bodies the way that they feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, we like to show people multiple ways to wear the same item. So the same item can be used for lots of different uses and to cater to your personality.
All right. So what made you decide to kind of take your passion for clothes and actually turn it into a business? I know this is relatively new, right? Less than a year old.
Yeah.
So what kind of just propelled you to say, you know what, we're going to make this a business?
Well, we both just really love clothes. We've always loved to shop together and talk about our clothes. We love to talk about our problems buying too many clothes. We always have garage sales. So we just kind of turned our love into a business.
Yeah, we kept talking about it, and finally COVID made us crazy enough to finally take the leap of faith. We were having time, sitting around, and so many times we had mentioned it, and we just one day on a whim, we were like, let's look into this. Like, let's figure out what this takes and just go. So we did.
So this is more just like a personal question from me. So you all started with just kind of posting on social media, like not as a business, but just using clothes from your own wardrobe and putting things, with, sometimes the same shirt with jeans, the same shirt with a skirt, and the same shirt with a sweater and all of that. So when you started that, was the intention to have a business, or was that more just like, hey, let's just do this for fun? And then did that have any, play in it becoming a business?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We had the idea kind of already started when we decided to start trying on other people's clothes and style them different ways. But we kind of wanted to put feelers out. We know that we get complimented on the clothes that we wear pretty often. So we felt like we could be successful at it. So we kind of did that as just like, let's just dip our toes in where we don't have to put any money into this. This is just like, let's see what people's response was. And people went crazy over it. So we were like, okay, that gave us a confidence boost, additional confidence boost that we needed, that we were like, yeah, we can do this.
Right. Maybe we're onto something. So yeah. I love that how you said that you kind of dipped your toes into it with no cost, right? I mean, you have social media, it doesn't cost anything. All it took was a little time, right?
Right.
There wasn't a whole lot of investment, just to kind of feel it out and see if it's something that you even had time to do. Like, if you don't have time to post on social media every other day, you sure as heck aren't going to have time to run a business, right?
Right. Yeah, and so much in today's world, social media is so important. So we knew that's pretty much where we needed to start. And so that's why we just started taking our own pictures and posting them just to kind of see, like Kaylee said.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've started two businesses myself, and so I know it's not easy. What obstacles have you all faced since you've started?
Well, I think our biggest one that we both can just agree on right away would be that we started during COVID. So that itself was a challenge, but that slowed shipping for manufacturers down like crazy. So what we thought would be a great launch and, a quick launch took a long time, months before we got some of our first items. Yeah.
We kept saying like, okay, we had a date that we wanted to do our first drop of products, and we only had probably less than half of our products had even shown up by then. And so we were like, okay, well, we can either push it off and wait for the rest of our products to come in, or we just launch with, I think we had 5 products when we launched for the first time, but we were like, we're just gonna go for it. I mean, we're not going to wait forever and let other people determine when we, just open our business. So we just went for it and launched with very few products, and people just loved to continue seeing as we added more things. The other struggles that we had were just like the business side of things in terms of how do we get a sales tax ID? How do we, what type of business do we register as? Are we an LLC? Are we a corporation? All of those types of things. So all of that was just like wading through things that neither one of us had really ever known how to navigate. All of that, but man, what hasn't been a challenge, honestly? I mean, I feel like we're like going at it and we're like, yeah, we're feeling really confident. We totally know what we're doing. And then like, bam, we get hit with something and we're like, well, didn't see that one coming.
Right. Well, and it's nice that there are 2 of you.
100%. We both agree we could not do this by ourselves.
Never. Nope.
You have someone to bounce ideas off of. You have someone to troubleshoot with, all of those things, which I'm sure is greatly appreciated. But yeah, I mean, I know that one thing that I found, and it sounds like that you all have the same situation, is, finding out this information, it's not easy. And when you do finally find it, at least I found like it's not clear. It's written in this language that is just, very official, and it's not just for the normal person, it's more like kind of written in like legal jargon, I feel like. And so trying to decipher what in the heck it's saying so you can choose, the right business type or get the right tax ID and all of that stuff. They do not make it easy.
No, they don't.
So I would just encourage anyone who is interested in starting a business to find someone like any of us who's done it and just ask questions, because those are the people who are going to be able to direct you to the resources that you're going to need more quickly. I mean, you could take weeks browsing the internet trying to figure things out when somebody else could say, oh yeah, it's really complicated. It took me forever, but here's the URL, So ask for help. Ask for help. I know my best career spotlight of this week, it said ask for help. Like, don't be afraid to ask. And it's so true in so many situations, but especially when you're starting a business. So, okay. So what have been the most helpful resources or tools since you've started? Like, have you found anything that was just, really helpful, or any, organization, or just anything? What's been most helpful?
Yeah, the Katie Small Business Development Center was a huge help in answering a lot of those questions that we had. How do we get a sales tax ID? All of that kind of stuff. So the ladies there were amazing in helping to answer a lot of those questions and point us in the right direction on where we could go to figure out what type of business entity we wanted to be and all of that kind of stuff. And then just networking and talking to people who, like you said, have done it. Luckily, we both have a very large network of people from our other jobs that we were able to lean on and kind of get their advice, their input. We know another boutique owner who was so willing to help us, give us advice on what she did, what worked, what didn't work. And then just other people throughout the community that talked to us about our website and what platform to use and all of these things that we just never would have guessed. But it just goes back to asking for help, asking people who have already been through it, and definitely Katie Small Business Development Center was a huge, huge help in the process.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, that's a resource that a lot of people probably don't know about, honestly. And I mean, they've been really helpful for me also. I mean, if nothing else, they're just a great sounding board. If you
Yeah.
have an idea or you're struggling with marketing or technology or anything, I mean, they have a wealth of information that they can direct you to, and, different people, and they have a huge network, and they can say, oh, hey, talk to this person, or this has worked really well for this organization. And so, yeah, I feel like it's a very valuable resource that a lot of people don't know about, and it's free. I mean,
Yep. Yeah.
there's no risk, right?
All the free.
They're extremely helpful. It's free. So, definitely use that resource. I couldn't agree more. Any other resources before we move on?
So
I don't think so.
All right. So the big question is, like, what advice do you have for someone who's wanting to start a side gig?
first and foremost, go for it. Just don't be too scared. Just start asking the questions and start putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I mean, we just feel like we drug our feet for so long, and then once we got into it, like, obviously we've talked a lot about the challenges and the things that we, ran into along the way, but we would not be where we are if we wouldn't have just jumped in both feet at the same time. And honestly, as hard as some things have been, it's so much more rewarding than I think either one of us could have ever imagined. So obviously the highs way outweigh the challenges and the lows that we faced. And if we would have just kept waiting for the perfect time, or, more money or whatever that we could have waited on, we wouldn't be where we are today. So just jump on in, the water's fine.
Well, and I mean, especially with COVID, if you thought, okay, well, we'll wait until that's over. Well, I mean, here we are over a year later, and it's still not over. So, I mean, you could be waiting indefinitely.
Forever.
And I think also, like, you can constantly second guess yourself, right? And like you said, there's never going to be that perfect time. So I think people a lot of times really overthink things. I know, I mean, I do a lot of times.
Professional.
Right. And it's scary to just kind of jump in a lot of times, but I mean, sometimes you just have to, and just, hope for the best. And, I saw something recently that said, don't have a plan B. And, they say, if you don't have a plan B, your plan A has to work.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing, and so I like that, just jump in and take that risk. Like sometimes it's not going to work out. I mean, not everything does work out, but if you can kind of ease into it, like you said, I think that's a, kind of a good test. And, we're talking about a side gig. You both have full-time jobs, right?
Yep. Yes.
Right. And so, this is something that's just kind of extra. I mean, a lot of people, I think, start side gigs and hoping that it'll eventually become full-time, and that's fantastic. But if it is just a side gig and you still have your full-time job to rely on, then you can just really kind of ease into it, work out those kinks, things like that, figure out what's working, what's not working, and you don't have quite as much pressure, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So, I mean, it sounds like that you all are enjoying this experience so far of running this business. So, like, what have you enjoyed most? What's the best part?
Additional time with each other.
We get to spend a lot of time together, which is amazing.
I think it's just been so fun to see how our strengths play off one another. Katie is so creative, and like, in terms of social media, like, she's always looking for new ways that we can do that kind of stuff. And I am a numbers person. I work at a financial institution for my full-time job. So just the way that our strengths have played together to make this such a success, and being able to be creative together and brainstorm and, dream together, it's just so awesome to pull all of our strengths together into one, vision for exactly what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, networking has been another really fun, just getting out there and meeting other boutiques or earring makers. We've met so many different creators, and it's been so fun to just meet new people. And then, of course, our all the people that have bought from us. The little saying, every time you buy from a small business, they do a little happy dance, is truly, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, we still, every time our phone tells us, someone purchased something, we get so excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Support in all ways is like just so huge. We, seeing people share our posts and like them, and like we're always going and like, oh, Katie, did you see that your post got shared like 5 times? Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So like everything all the ways that people give back to us and support us is just so amazing to see, and just makes us feel really special about the community that we've built around us.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad that it's going so well. So I'm going to throw you one curveball. This is a question we didn't kind of prepare for, but I think some people might think that it's really expensive, to start a business, and it is. There are certainly expenses, but I know, at least I'm pretty sure, I recall, like, you all do your own photography. You don't have any like special equipment or anything like that, right? So maybe just talk about that for just a minute, so people know, like, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a fancy camera and a expensive backdrop and all of that. If you wouldn't mind, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, we essentially started on very little. We each obviously chipped in the same amount, but we used all resources that we already had. Kaylee already had a camera that she had. We used that.
But we honestly, our first pictures were taken with cell phones. Like, we had the camera, but we even just started with our phones so that we didn't have to figure out how do we move the pictures over and all that kind of stuff. So our backdrop for our photos is like $50 off of Amazon. Amazon's our best friend. We bought some cheapo racks, and it was very minimal to start. Like, we were like, we don't need anything fancy. We just need something that keeps our clothes off the ground. Our boutique is run out of Katie's basement. Like, we don't have any fancy anything. So yes, our initial investment, and we just started with things that we had. It was like, we don't want to put a ton into this, so that in the event that we don't make it work, all we really had to do at that time was sell off the inventory we had, and then we were out. We were good to go.
Yeah.
So we just,
to this day, we do our own photography, own website, taxes. We deliver and do all of the inventory ourselves. We buy all of our clothes.
Yeah, we don't outsource. It's just us, living on a prayer, Googling all the things that we don't know how to do.
Right, exactly. Yes, Google is my best friend. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So if somebody's interested in checking out Kickin Ks, where can they find you and all your cute stuff?
Yes, we have Facebook and Instagram. Both of those are just Kickin Ks. And then our website is www.kickinks.com.
All right. Well, you all should check it out. I have some items myself, and it's been really great. Fantastic customer service. So thank you all so much for sharing that with us today. I really appreciate it. I'm sure that people got a lot out of it. So best of luck, and maybe you'll be on again talking about something else sometime.
We'd love to. Thank
For those
you.
of you listening, if you need any help with your own career development, you can always check out Career Advantage and Career Advantage Golf at careeradvantageresumes.com and careeradvantagegolf.com. I also am on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. It's Career Advantage Resumes, and on Twitter, it's at Advantage Career. So thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
If you're interested in starting a side gig and you have any questions, I'm sure any of us would be more than happy to help. So let us know. And until then, have a great week and thanks so much for joining us.